Welcome back to our channel,
Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books,
amongst other things. And it's about to be Thanksgiving, y'all.
I know. Happy holidays if we don't see you for the holidays.
If we have any viewers outside of America, I know you don't honor Thanksgiving, but here it's Thanksgiving. No, they may not. So I want to be mindful that it's just the holiday season. It's just the holiday season. But Thanksgiving is typically a time of thanks.
Giving thanks.
Right. You express your gratitude. You typically around family, things like that. So we thought we should discuss some books we are grateful for that we've read, right?
This year.
Yes, this year. We're going to stick it to this year. If you all are interested in seeing like a bigger list, let us know. But we're going to stick to this year for now. So let's get into it.
Okay, you go first.
Okay. Whew. Okay, so because we were restricted to this year, I feel like I had to think deep as to why I'm grateful for these books.
Because you feel like you didn't read enough good stuff this year?
No, I feel like I read some good stuff. But I think when I think of grateful, I read a book, it's more so like it did something for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of the books I selected were like the other books I read before crawled so these books can walk, right? So, but that doesn't mean I didn't get a little something new, something that, hey, sparked something in me. So the first one I will mention is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I talked about that book earlier this year about how much it surprised me, how much I enjoyed it, how much I would highly recommend it. But pretty much it's a new book for me from that particular author. I've never read any of his works before. So it was about, it's a little complicated. Let me try to explain it. So it's a fantasy-based book about this guy who's really kind of down on his luck, goes to work, does what he's supposed to do, really kind of like a black and white person. When it comes to just events in his life, he doesn't veer outside of the box. And he's a caseworker at the Registry for Magical Youth, something like that. And he goes and visits different orphanages for different reasons. So pretty much he is assigned to this classified orphanage, and there ensues an adventure that he's able to experience for the first time in his life, where he gets to see the sea. He gets to see a true definition of family, even though these kids are undesirable, have magical abilities that no one can understand really, and haven't really taken the time, and they're led by this guy who's really mysterious. And so, yeah, I just am grateful that I read that book because, one, it provided me something that I really wasn't anticipating at the time. Like I said, I was super surprised by the book and just the process of reading it and all the elements that came together. It gave me emotions. It gave me the feels. It just gave me everything I needed. But I'm also grateful because I got an opportunity to discover probably a new favorite author, because as I was looking at his catalog, a lot of his books are highly rated, highly recommended. So that's what I'm grateful for, just the opportunity to explore a new adventure with this author, because it seems like his books all kind of have a deeper meaning, and I enjoy that in my reading. So that's why I'm grateful for that book. What you got?
So the first book I'm going to say, it's actually a book I haven't mentioned yet, but I just finished reading it, and I don't know, it's called We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza. So it's two authors, but basically it's about these two friends. One is black and one is white, but they grew up together since they were little girls, since they were like 5 years old or something. And they go off to one goes off to college, and she becomes a news reporter, and the other one kind of stays in her hometown and lives her life, but they always stay connected and have been best friends throughout this whole time. And the reporter moves back to her hometown, so she's reestablishing her relationship with her best friend. This is her best friend for over years, and the best friend has married a cop who incidentally has shot and killed an unarmed black teenager. So boom, that's where the story starts, and it just escalates from there. And I don't know, I feel like I'm thankful to have read this story because, one, at first when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, I don't know where this is gonna go. But I thoroughly enjoyed the writing, and much like Kristen, I feel like, oh, I may have discovered a new writer, because I haven't looked up any of their stuff after this. I just finished this book, y'all. But I don't know if they have any other books together or separately. But I just really enjoyed the writing. Like, it was like listening to a movie, and that's what you want to be able to visualize, like everything that's going on and feel the emotions. And it made me laugh a little. Did it make me laugh?
I was gonna say, that don't sound like it's some.
I know it didn't make me like ha laugh like ooh babe, but like it had some moments where it made me perk up, and then a lot of moments that just made me feel sad and just like, oh my god, like what would I do if I was in that situation type thing. So I was really able to live through the story, and that's why I'm really thankful that I've read something lately. Not that what I've been reading hasn't been good, some of it hasn't, but it just like piqued my interest again in like reading. You know how like you read a book and it's good and you're like, okay, that's good. I need something like that again. Like it was kind of like that for me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So next, another book I am grateful that I read this year, thankful that I read this year, whatever. Is Blackout by a whole bunch of authors. So it has, you need to read that.
I know, I didn't read
it. It has Danielle Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk. I'm trying to remember these names off the top of my head. How am I doing? Dang it. Oh, Nicola Yoon. And I feel like I'm missing one person, maybe one or two. But pretty much, it was just a collection of short stories that all had this recurrent theme of this blackout that happens in New York City. And they're all centered around Black love. Black young love, because all of the authors are pretty much acclaimed young adult authors for the most part. And so I am really grateful that I read that, because one, it's a collection of women of color. Like, what? We do this, and we do this successfully. So it really, to me, was a celebration of just really our achievements and our ability to come together. And not to say that can't happen or doesn't happen on a regular basis, but that was my first time really experiencing something like that type of book, and ultimately really thoroughly enjoying each author for individual reasons and collectively together. But I just really thought, I'm happy to just see a positive expression of Black love, a really diverse expression of Black love as well. And I think it's a good book, especially for a young adult audience, just to get exposure to these different authors, as well as just read stories that probably are a little bit more relatable than stories maybe of my youth or even older stories. I just am grateful to have received something that could transcend, time. I don't know. I just feel like it's a book that can go on and on and on, that a lot of generations to come will enjoy for those same reasons. So yeah, I'm just really grateful I got an opportunity to read it, and I really enjoyed it. I'm going to probably look for more collections of work like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so next book that I'm grateful to have read is Dominicana by Angie Cruz.
I was gonna put that.
You were?
But I didn't.
Yes, we read that book earlier this year, and it's been mentioned here on our channel before a couple times, I believe. And that book followed a young girl's journey from basically being like sold off by her parents to a life in America with this man at like 15 years old, and basically just becoming a housewife very young and struggling, coming to a new country, not knowing the language, and then going through kind of like a abusive relationship ultimately, and overcoming that. And I love that book. That book made me cry, and it made me just feel like,
what?
It didn't make you cry?
Yes, but you, Miss Icebox?
Oh wow, I don't know where this reputation comes from, but I cry for books and TV sometimes. But yeah, that book there was a couple of moments where I was like, oh my god, like how girl, like run, like do this, do that, and it just like completely like makes you feel enthralled with this story, and just like you're rooting for this young girl at this time. And I think it's like loosely based like on a true story of like the author's like mother. I think I remember listening to like an interview with her like after the book went off, and so she said, she mentioned something about like an ode to her mom's journey or whatever. And yeah, I'm just really thankful that I read that book because, again, a new author. That was the first time of me reading something by Angie Cruz. And I think if she doesn't have another book out, I think she's coming out with something soon because I've been seeing her name somewhere. So, yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was one of the better books that I've read this year. And it was a long time ago. I feel like it wasn't even this year, but that was this year.
That was definitely like just a few months ago.
It feels like 6 months. Like it feels like
it was
last
not
year.
6 months ago.
But,
okay.
Yeah, this year has been all over the place. So yeah, that's one that I'm thankful that I read. That's one that I'm thankful that I read this year. Loved it.
All right, another book. My last book I will mention that I'm grateful that I read, or I'm grateful for, whatever, is Love by Toni Morrison.
Oh.
So while I did not thoroughly enjoy the book, I have my reasons, but
you grateful you got a Toni Morrison?
Yeah. So ultimately, it's a story about two older women who are at odds with each other, surrounding this man. One of the women is his granddaughter, and the other woman was his wife, and he passed away and left everything to somebody, but they don't know who. And both of them have their reasons to believe it's them. So they grew up as like friends when they were younger, and just circumstances happened that caused them to diverge. And really it was kind of mainly a rift brought up because of the one friend marriage to her grandfather. So yeah, it just surrounds that, and ultimately just some things happen surrounding that's the main thing. So I'm grateful for that book because, one, it just solidified why I should be going back and reading African American literature. Like I said, I fully admitted to not being the connoisseur, the expert, whatever you want to call it, surrounding African American literature, but that's something I'm trying to go back and do because ultimately I think it's something to celebrate, like I said. So I just really am grateful for that book because I can see why Toni Morrison is definitely an acclaimed author. That gave me a taste of just her capabilities. It just made me proud of just seeing the variety of stories that we have to offer. And it just opened my eyes to just other things that I've been shying away from for years for some reason. It just gave me an opportunity to really be like, okay, Kristen, it's not that bad. Just because I feel like older books, I always equate older books to like I told you, I don't like to hunker down and read about racist experiences. So I just equate that to that. And I think I'm grateful that I did go back and read that because now I'm understanding like that's not every book. Even though I know that, it just gave me the actual proof to support that, hey, we write about other things. I just don't like reading about African American trauma. I'm sorry. But even though there was some trauma there, it was a different type. And yeah, I'm just grateful I read it. And I look forward to continue to read some of her other books.
Okay.
I might try Sula.
I might try
Sula.
You would like Sula, I think.
You told me I like Love.
You liked it, so please.
I thought it was okay. That's what I thought it was okay.
I liked it. So anyway, okay, so last book that I believe that I am grateful for reading this year. It's a toss-up for me, but I'm gonna go with this one, and that is
The
Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So y'all know I'm not I always say this, but I actually am like into fantasy and like magical realism and all that stuff. But I actually do enjoy those type of books when it's done right, when it's done in a way that, I don't know, that just keeps my interest and doesn't make me feel like really like this happened. But The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is about this woman who basically just lives forever, right?
Basically.
She basically sold, she made a deal with the devil to
She wanted to experience life with no boundaries.
Yeah,
something
life
like
with no
that.
boundaries. But that caused her to like not be able to that caused her to like flow through life, and everybody she meet doesn't remember her. That's what it was.
Yeah, when they exit her.
Yeah,
presence.
like when they leave her, they no longer remember her, and then she goes through this whole like thing. Y'all know what it's about. It's popular. So I'm just grateful that I read that book because it kind of sparked my interest in like fantasy novels, and I do want to read more books by that author because I know like she has a bunch of books in that same vein, but whenever I try to like get them on Libby or something, like they're not available, so I don't got time for that. So
check on Scribd.
Now see if they have some. But yeah, so I'm grateful that I read that book because it's kind of like the only book that I have of that genre and that nature, like all my books that I've read this year. Yeah.
So read The House in the Cerulean Sea. You will enjoy that, I promise you.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, you say you take down my recommendations.
I do.
It's proof right there.
So yeah, so I'm glad that's one that you recommended, and I'm glad that I read it. I'm very thankful that I read it because it sparked something. So yes, so that is it for our list books that we're grateful for that we've read this year.
Yes.
Do you guys have any books that you've read this year, or just in general that you're like, oh my god, I'm so glad I read this book?
Yeah, and like I said, if you want to see a broader list of our overall grateful reads, was that a way to say that? Just let us know because I think it was a little bit challenging limiting it to this year because we've read some great books in the past and they sparked magical things within us, but we couldn't talk about those. We talked about it this year.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about our most recent reads,
but I think we still mentioned some good books. But let us know, comment down below, like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll be back next time. Bye.